What are the top 10 scenes left out of the Harry Potter movies? What's good, Potterheads? Welcome back to the Half-Blood YouTuber channel, where today on camera, I'm gonna answer just that. In a video bringing justice to those glorious scenes that were not good enough for the likes of Chris Columbus, Alfonso Cuarón, Mike Newell, and David Yates. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the Half-Blood YouTuber channel so that you can join the Half-Blood YouTuber community that I am trying to build here, because I would really love to have you as a part of it. But enough introduction, because it's time to be extraordinary. Right off the bat, just a quick little disclaimer. This video is going to be my opinion, even though it says the top 10 list in the title. It is going to be my opinion. You can agree with me, that would be awesome. If you don't agree with me, that is perfectly fine. And if you would have added or subtracted any of the choices on this top 10 list, then you can make sure to let me know in the Patronus section down below. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's get on with the video. In no particular order, at number 10 we have Voldemort's backstory in Half-Blood Prince. Now, if you saw that movie, which I assume you did, then you would know that Voldemort's backstory is not really included in that movie because David Yates decided to make it into a rom-com, which I hope blows your mind as much as it does mine. Because this movie is by no means a rom-com. It is a drama about people trying to kill others. There is a bit of drama about relationships because they're 16 and they're falling in love unnecessarily. And yeah, but the main point of this movie, which, should have been the main point of this movie, would have been the Horcruxes, and understanding how Voldemort came to be who he was, which was not the main point of the movie. I would have loved so much more to see all the pensive scenes, than to see Lavender Brown to rate Ron all over of pretty much everything, and to be smogging him literally constantly. That is not what I want to be seeing in a movie. At number 9, we have Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, the book. Because really, the movie could have been called Harry Potter and the Triwizard Tournament and still made sense title-wise. The director for this adaptation, Mike Newell, he did not read the book because, get this, he thought that the source material for the movie was not necessary for the adaptation because it was too big. This is why I don't respect his work on the movie at all, because he didn't even bother to read the source material from which the movie was being adapted, and that makes me so angry, because you know what I would have loved to see from the books? I would have loved to see the Rita Skeeter Unregistered Animagus reveal. I would have loved to see, the Quidditch World Cup, which does not appear in the movies. It almost does, but then they were like, nah, we're not gonna show you that. We'll show you the lead up to it, and then we'll show you what happens directly after it. You don't get to see all that exciting Quidditch stuff, nah. We're just gonna give you the Triwizard Tournament, because that's all we're here to see, right? Sure, because you definitely know how Potterheads work. Anyways, we also don't get to see the Hogwarts kitchens. I would have absolutely loved to see the Hogwarts kitchens. We don't get to see Dobby again in this book. And Dobby's whole storyline in the movies is basically just trying to mortally injure Harry in Chamber of Secrets and then dying in the Half-Blood Prince, and we don't get to see any of the, I admit there's very few stuff in the middle, but still, we don't get to see that stuff, and I would really love to see that stuff because Dobby is such a precious little angel, and I would have loved to see more of him. That just breaks my heart I can't see him. And, yeah, overall, very angry at this movie, very angry at the director, too, and, yeah, if all the stuff that you, are hearing about now is interesting to you, and you're like, what? How come I've never seen this? How come I've never known about that? That's so awesome! Correct. That is why you should read the books if you have not already. And at number 8, we have Peeves the Poltergeist, the Prince of Mischief, because nobody deserves the title of King of Mischief besides Fred and George Weasley. I'm not necessarily mad at the fact that we don't get to see Peeves in the movies, because if you look at the image on screen now, you will realize that technology just wasn't advanced enough to be able to give us a quality Peeves. For that, I am not angry, also because Chris Columbus, the man in charge of trying to bring Peeves to life, he was also trying to bring a beloved fantastical series about wizards to the big screen, with the entire weight of the success of the other movies resting on the success of the first movie. So he needed to make that one feel as entertaining and nostalgic for some of those people who were able to read the first books when they came out initially, and to make it feel as immersive as possible. And when you have, once again, I'll show you this on screen, then you are not going to feel immersed, even though they did hire a very funny British comedian to play Peeves the Poltergeist. All this stuff aside, I do really wish that they had brought Peeves into the later movies, because he has some truly hilarious type of humor. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, Peeves was a super fun dude in the books, and I would have loved to see him in the movies, and that is pretty much all I'm going to say about Peeves. And at number 7, we have a truly unforgettable, not for good reasons whatsoever, cringy Valentine's Day scene in Chamber of Secrets, where essentially what happened was Hogwarts had got these dwarves that they were putting in whatever is considered Valentine's Day attire, and then the students would write Valentine's Day cards or poems for fellow students, and then the dwarves would have to chase people down in the hallways and basically either give them the card or read them the poem. And if you tried to run away, they would quite literally tackle you. So Ginny Weasley decides to tries to write a poem for Harry, and she gives it to the dwarves. And then a dwarf chases down Harry in the hallway. This is a crowded hallway, by the way, right now. And so Harry runs away, and the dwarf tackles him and reads out the poem. And I'm going to read it to you right now. His eyes are as green as a fresh pickled toad. His hair is as dark as a blackboard. I wish it was mine. He's really divine, the hero who conquered the Dark Lord. And just because of how insanely uncomfortable this scene makes me feel, and how uncomfortable I bet Ginny and Harry felt in that scene, I am going to leave it at that. At number 6, we have the Golden True's encounter with Remus Lupin early on in Deathly Hallows. For those of you who do not know this scene, it goes as follows. Remus Lupin comes to number 12 Grindelwald Place after Harry, Ron, and Hermione have come there. And he comes seeking the opportunity to be able to travel with them on their hunt for Horcruxes, and not just for any reason, but because he wants to abandon Tonks, because he is afraid that their baby is going to turn out to be a werewolf just like him, and the incredible discrimination that has been following Remus Lupin his entire life will then be burdened upon their son. And Harry, of course, does not want this to happen because he wants that family to stay together, so he berates Remus Lupin to the point of borderline cruel and unusual punishment under the 8th Amendment. He basically says that no, you can't leave your pregnant wife just because you're scared of what's gonna happen to your kid. If something bad happens to your kid, you gotta take care of that because you are the dad. So there are a couple things that I really appreciated about this scene. When you're reading a fantasy series like Harry Potter, where the characters are going on many adventures every other day, and their lives are nothing but entertaining drama, it is really hard to remember that these are people. Of course, they are fantastical people. They don't really exist, but Joe Rowling has been able to flesh out their characters and develop them so much that we can make half-hour videos about their lives and how they affected each other. And that is complexity. That is borderline actual human being complexity. And so, in order to remember that, you have to have some times in these types of series where you get just a massive sucker punch straight to the gut that says, hey, while you've been reading about all these cool adventures, we've been experiencing these adventures and they have been a living nightmare for us. So please remember that fictional characters are people too. And that is the feeling that I got when I read. For the halfway point in this list, we have the challenges protecting the Sorcerer's Stone in, well, Sorcerer's Stone. So, the two I wanted to focus on for this list are the two that were actually the only ones excluded from the adaptions, which are the second troll, the unconscious one, and the potions challenge. Allow me to focus on the potions challenge for a second. For this one, since the potions challenge was a potions riddle designed by Professor Snape, naturally the only person who could solve the riddle was Hermione. What I really enjoy about this scene, though, in the books, is that this is when she says that famous line that we know in the movies from the chess match.
Me, books, and cleverness. There are more important things. Friendship and bravery.
I really like this because it shows that even though she has all of the Ravenclaw traits, and when she was a Hatstall, she was being divided between Gryffindor and Ravenclaw. This part isn't necessarily canon, what I'm about to say. She chose Gryffindor because she wanted to have those traits more. So when she's saying this line, she's really saying, Harry, you need to go instead of me because you already have the traits, you were born with the traits that I am just now starting to develop, and that is what is going to help you in the adversary to come. And just to comment on the second unconscious troll too, I'm not sure if you guys picked up on this at all during your many rereads of the series. When you see the unconscious troll, it's kind of like an homage to like, hey, it's gonna be Quirrell here, cause remember when he let a troll loose in the dungeons? And it's like, that is so cool that they just gave us that one little teaser, literally right before the teaser was going to be revealed. And I really like that. At number 4, we have the one, the only, Fred and George Graduation Extravaganza, where the two Weasley twins are back at it again, and it is absolute chaos. We have fireworks flying everywhere, and Umbridge is yelling for somebody to do something while nobody's doing anything, and they're just watching and standing back and letting her just get completely destroyed and embarrassed. And once again, Fred and George have managed to bring that sweet and savory morale School of Witchcraft and Wizardry have so desperately needed, and it is such a relief and so incredibly just satisfying to be able to read all of this. And, most shocking of all, Peeves the Poltergeist, who has not listened to a single person at this school besides the Bloody Baron for years, finally listens to the two Hogwarts students who would most likely get him to follow their commands, Fred and George, as they say, "Give her hell from us, Peeves," and he goes and creates all the mischief he can for Dolores Umbridge, while Fred and George ride off into the glorious sunset. At number 3, we have Christmas on the Closed Ward, the chapter from Order of the Phoenix. In this chapter, we get to see 3 incredible things. Number 1, we get to check back on Gilderoy Lockhart. He's still handing out autographs like there's no tomorrow, and he's still got that absolutely incredible dentist. Number 2, we get to see Arthur Weasley try to explain stitches to Mrs. Weasley. Yeah, Arthur, maybe next time you might not want to tell your wife that in order to mend your skin the Muggle way, they're going to have to stick needles in you. The third thing, the most important thing from this scene, is we get to meet Neville Longbottom's parents. Of course, obviously, they were tortured beyond human functionality by Bellatrix Lestrange. And in this scene, we get to see that they hand Neville a crumbled up candy bar, and we also find out that they've been doing this for quite some time, which in the most beautiful way possible shows that in some way, shape, or form they still recognize and love Neville as their son, and that is just absolutely beautiful in my eyes. And at number 2, we have the Dursleys' farewell in Deathly Hallows. For Dudley, we obviously have the famous heartwarming line,
"I don't think you're a waste of space."
Which essentially in Dudley means, "I love you, Harry, and I have for quite some time." For Petunia, we have the other famous line,
"You didn't just lose a mother that night in Godric's Hollow, you know. I lost a sister."
Which really brings an interesting perspective to Petunia's character, helping us realize that even though we've been feeling bad for Harry this entire time because he lost a mom at age 1, it's even worse for Petunia because she lost her sister when they had already grown up together and gotten a relationship, and she never even got the opportunity to make up with Lily after they had that big fallout at platform 9 3/4, and that hurts so much more than Harry's experience. Not to throw any shade on Harry's experience, but it just is. And from Vernon Dursley, we don't really get to have much more character development from him, but he does offer up a brand new POV. I really like the fact that we get the occasional Muggle point of view, because it helps to freshen up the series after it may be going a bit stale with just the same biases and just the same points of views that we look through. It's nice to hear what the Muggles are thinking about. It's nice to hear what somebody else is thinking about other than just the British magical community, which is not the only part of Joe Rowling's wizarding world, and it is important to recognize that, and I'm glad that she recognizes that in her own series, because that adds to the immersion of the world as a whole within the series that may just be focusing on one people in that world to begin with, and I really like that. And at number 1, we have Grindelwald's Redemption in the books, because in the movies, David Yates completely botched it. In the movies, Grindelwald pretty much just gives up the location of the Elder Wand almost on command when prompted by Voldemort. And in the books, which I much prefer, Grindelwald refuses to give up the location of the Elder Wand for the sake of his late lover, Albus Dumbledore. I really like how they did it in the books, because it really adds a nice wrap-up to the relationship between Grindelwald and Dumbledore after the latter has died, and that pretty much just ends those two characters because they're both dead now, and it really shows that After all the time that Grindelwald has spent with Dumbledore, Dumbledore managed to instill some sense of morality in Grindelwald. He gave him a moral compass through their love for each other because of their romantic relationship, I'll just say it, but also because of their brotherhood. And that's clearly left a special message inside of Grindelwald's mind, and that is why he decided to serve Albus Dumbledore even after he was gone. And that's it for the video. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to obliterate the like button for the YouTube algorithm. It seriously helps out the channel. If you would have added any other scenes to this list, or you would have taken off any scenes from this list, or if you just flat out agree with this list, please make sure to let me know, along with the 3 C's, comments, constructive criticism, and conversation in the Patronus section down below. As always, remember to subscribe if you haven't already, with the logo coming up in the middle for more totally tubular Harry Potter content. Also, please make sure to ring the notification bell to be notified when that totally tubular content arrives, and if you wouldn't mind, maybe consider following me on Instagram at the Half-Blood YouTuber for some updates and such, and just some fun occasional posts from that type of stuff. But that's it for today, so stay extraordinary. Peace.